Welcome back to You, Me, and the Girls podcast. This feels so weird because I am doing a solo episode today. So I'm literally just talking to myself right now. I don't have Ken's here. So if you happen to be joining and this is your first episode ever of You, Me, and the Girls, normally I have my other half, Ken's. She is my sister, my co-host, my best friend. But she is a nursing baddie right now, and she is about to start clinicals in nursing school. And so, as you can imagine, if you know anyone who's gone through nursing school or know anything about nursing school, it is incredibly busy. And so, this is my first solo episode when we were doing our rebrand because we used to be Real Talk About Feminism and now we're You, Me, and the Girls. So when we were talking about our rebrand, we had talked about me potentially needing to do some solo episodes when nursing school really started to ramp up. And so now that time is here. I don't know how many solo episodes I'm gonna do. And I do want to just let you guys know this episode is obviously coming a little bit late. Life has just been very busy, and I think it's been busy for everyone, but we are not going to promise episodes every 2 weeks. That is really what we're shooting for because we love the podcast. We don't make any money off of the podcast, so this is literally just a passion project. But we love it. We love connecting with you guys. We love connecting with each other. And it's truly so fun. We have been a podcast for over 4 years now. So we don't want to stop anytime soon by any means. But with nursing school and my health, there are just no promises that there are going to be 2 episodes a week or 2 episodes a month. 2 episodes a week would actually be insane. So if you don't see 2 episodes a month from us, then don't worry, we're not going away. We're still here. We might have just gotten caught up in life a little bit, and we'll try to keep you guys updated on the stories on Instagram as much as possible, so that you guys are in the loop on when new episodes are coming out. But today, I am going to be talking about living with a partner. And so I moved in with my boyfriend, Kendrick, last June. So we're kind of close to coming up on a year. And I have learned a lot. It's been so fun. It's literally been the best time. And so I figured, why not talk about this for my first solo episode? So that's what we're going to talk about today. But of course, I cannot skip our segment reading, watching, listening. So let's get into it. So right now I am reading. Well, okay. I have a few different things reading wise going on. So I'm listening to First Time Caller audiobook only. And I haven't listened in like a week, but I'm probably like 30% through. It's pretty cute. I like it. So I'm listening to that. I am listening and reading Pride and Prejudice. So a few months ago, I was just trying to read it, and it was way too confusing, way too old-timey to understand just audio. So I have the copy of the book, so I'm reading that very slowly. And then I ordered Sunrise on the Reaping, so the new Hunger Games book. And this one is from Haymitch's perspective. I hope that's right. If that's not right, then that's awkward. But yeah, this one's from Haymitch's perspective, hopefully. And I ordered it yesterday, so it's coming tomorrow. And if you know me, I like to follow along and listen. But the audiobook for Sunrise on the Reaping is on hold for 15 weeks at the library. So I'm going to just power through and because I want to read it. And I saw something on TikTok today and obviously I don't know the context, so it wasn't really a spoiler, but I was just like, I don't want things to get ruined. So I'm gonna just try to read, and I'm just a really slow reader, and it makes my migraines worse. So even if I literally read a page a day, I will be reading it, and I will keep you guys updated. So if anyone else is reading Sunrise on the Reaping right now, let me know. So that's reading. Watching. Um, I started this new show called Grosse Pointe Garden Society, I think. Um, and it's pretty good. It's like a murder mystery. It's kind of cheesy, but it's pretty good. There are 4 episodes out right now, and I've watched all 4. It comes out on Mondays on Peacock. So, yeah, I'm watching that, and it's pretty good. Of course, I'm watching Yellow Jackets. I literally wait every Friday for it to come out. Um, and I saw like the craziest theory. Um, I'm not going to spoil it because it's coming out right now. So we'll talk about Yellow Jackets when the season is over. But I'm obsessed with it. It's just insane. And there are so many theories. I'm like, whoa. Um, so watching Grosse Pointe Garden Society and Yellow Jackets, and then I am listening to Frank Ocean. I saw a video on TikTok today of Frank Ocean performing on Jimmy Fallon in like 2011 or something. And that might not be the right date because that feels really long ago, but it was his first like TV performance and he was singing Bad Religion. And I literally the like first chords of the organ started playing for Bad Religion. I turned off the TikTok. I started listen. I put Frank Ocean. This is Frank Ocean on Spotify. I was like, he is a masterpiece. I want new music so bad. I know everyone wants new music. Anyone who's a Frank Ocean fan wants new music. I want new music so bad. And I was listening to um Nights. Is it Nights? Hold on. So while I was setting up to record, I was listening to Blonde, just like start to finish. And so, okay, I really love Nights, but Nikes, I love that song. I love Nikes by Frank Ocean, and there you go. You guys can see my screen. Um, I when I first started um getting high, taking edibles, um, this was in Denver, and obviously, like, nothing will match when you are just getting high. A 10 milligram edible will like knock your socks off, and you just feel so great. And so I was in that era, and I used to every day after work, because I also it helps my pain. So don't come at me. But regardless, if you want to take an edible, take an edible. Um, but anyways, so I we were living downtown in Denver in a high rise, and so I would every day after work I would go work out. I would come home, I would clean the apartment, and just like clean my area and make sure my room was clean, and then I would take my edible after the gym, so it would kick in while I was cleaning, and then I would take a shower, and then I would go in my room and sit with candles on. So at this point, this is like after the shower, my edible is like kicking in really, really good now at this point. And I would just watch the sunset and listen to Nikes and amongst other things. But I would listen to Nikes, like that was always my first song. And I would literally just like watch the sunset over the Rocky Mountains and watch the people like hustling and bustling in downtown Denver. Like it truly was a beautiful experience. And anytime I listen to Nikes now, it just brings me back to that like calm, almost like meditative state of me just listening to that song in my dark room with just my candles lit. And life was just good. I mean, life was just good. And so I was listening to that while I was setting up, and I was just like, wow, this is a beautiful album. So yeah, Frank, if you're listening, please drop a new album. I would really appreciate it. Thanks. Okay, moving on, let's get into the bulk of the episode. So, we are talking about moving in with your partner. And so, like I said, me and Kendrick moved in together in June of last year. And I think so when we were like talking about moving in, a lot of people were asking me like, "Oh, are you moving into his place or are you guys getting a place together?" So we got a place together, which I think makes a big difference because and not that there's anything wrong with like if he were to have his own apartment and I were to just move in with him. There's nothing wrong with that. But I think it's harder to kind of make it feel like your own. And so, yeah, we got a place together. He moved out of the place he was living. I moved across the country. And then we moved into this apartment together. We were doing long distance our entire relationship. And so maybe I can do an episode about long distance tips because if you're a long distance girly, you know that it's rough. But we're proof that you can get through it. And if it's meant to be, you can get through it. So we did long distance for a year and then we moved in together. It was a little under a year. But we honestly just like fell in love from day one. I had never slept with someone unless I was in a relationship with them. And our first date, I slept with him and I spent the night, and then obviously here we are now. Like I was obsessed with him from the beginning. And he was obsessed with me. Not that it was just like a one-sided obsession. So um yeah, so we did long distance. We always kind of knew like I was going to move across the country and we were going to move in together. And so yeah, we did, let's see. We did apartment hunting in like February and March. We toured apartments. I would fly out and then we would tour some apartments. And then we signed our lease, planned to move out in June. So what I did is kind of like the logistical stuff. I shipped my car and I packed stuff in my car. And then I took like I had 4 suitcases. So I couldn't pack my car with that much stuff because of like the weight with the shipping. And I looking back I could have put more in there because they didn't actually care, but um I didn't know. So I shipped my car and then I flew over with G, my cat, and my sister, my younger sister Sadie, she flew over with me to help, and then she helped us move in along with his family. They came up and helped us move in. Um, and so yeah, that was like the logistics of getting here, and now we're here. So it's been a few months now, and like I said, I feel like I've learned a lot. It's been really fun. I'll just say from my perspective, I have not once even remotely felt like this was like the wrong decision or I made a mistake. Like, I've been so happy since the day that I moved over here. I do miss Ken's a lot. I will say that. Because we lived together for the last like few years until I moved here. So I do miss Ken's. But other than that, I love living together. I love living with him. We have so much fun. I will preface with he is not a messy person. So if he was a messy person, like if he was like a, I don't want to like do stereotypes, but like if he was a stereotypical like messy boy, that would be really difficult for me because I like to keep things organized, but he also likes to keep things organized and he is very particular about his things. And so, yeah, he's not messy at all, which is very helpful. Um, but of course, living together is definitely an adjustment. So I'm going to just talk about some of the stuff that I've adjusted to, some of the things that we've learned, and kind of our dynamic a little bit. And then at the end, I have a few listener submissions to go through. So, um, something about us is he does the cooking and I do the cleaning. So, he's a really good cook, which is an amazing perk. Um, the one thing about him and cooking is that he kind of makes a lot of dishes when he cooks. And so at one point, this was probably like a month and a half ago, um, I told him because he was cooking and he makes a lot of dishes when he's cooking. And then obviously, like, I have to do the cleaning, which is our agreement. And he comes home and he cooks dinner. So, like, it's a lot going on. Like, he comes home, cooks dinner, he must be tired and all that. So, of course, I'm going to do the cleaning. And also, I hate cooking and I can't cook. So, of course, I'm going to do the cleaning. Um, but then I'm left with like a mountain of dishes. And so at one point, like a month and a half ago, I said something like that. Like, I was like, one thing about you is that you will use a lot of dishes when you cook. And I can't even remember what he said, but he was just like, oh, like, I'm sorry. Like, like, I'm just cooking. Like, because he'll make different sauces and like he likes to make sauces. And so he just makes a bunch of different things. And so yeah, there's just a lot of dishes. So to try and like combat that, I have tried to kind of like clean as he's going. Um, because a lot of times I'll just like sit at our island where we have stools while he's cooking. And even if I'm just like doing work on my iPad or coloring or on my phone, like we are normally just like chatting. He might have like a game up on his phone. So like even if we have different things going on, like we're still chatting while he's cooking. And so if there's a lot of dishes going on, then I will kind of just like clean as he's going to make things a little bit easier because I like to have the dishes done by the time we eat. It's not always like that, but that's what I prefer. So yeah, that's how I've kind of like worked around that. Um and then because we do have like, we use wood cutting boards. Really trying to eliminate microplastics. And so, like, all of those cutting boards have to be hand washed. And so, after I said that, like, he'll hand wash the cutting boards, which is really helpful because, like, hand washing, it just sucks. And those cutting boards are, like, very heavy. And if we're using multiple, like, it just adds up. So, that is one thing that I have learned. Um, some things that have been, like I said, he's not a messy person, but a few things that like just really, I'm not even gonna say grind my gears, but just like get me are he leaves his shoes around. And he has so many shoes. Um, we don't even have all of his shoes here. Like he has so many pairs of shoes at his parents' house. And then we have a bunch of his shoes here. And one thing I love about him is that he is so stylish and I've loved that since day one. Like he just has such a nice style. He's so put together every single day. And his shoes really play into that. So I love that he has a bunch of different shoes and he matches them to his outfits. But he will leave them out where he takes them off instead of putting them in the closet. And so I've like mentioned this, like, can you, put them away? And Sometimes he does. And again, it's like, it's just a pair of shoes. It's not like it's that big of a deal. But when we got a puppy, she, like, in our room, he will have like a few pairs of shoes out on his side of the room. And then his side of the room is also where Hazel will have all of her little bones. And so we call it the boneyard, because all of her little bones are just like there and her toys. And so I'm like, when there's like puppy toys all over and bones when I'm walking in the room and then shoes on top of it, that is a lot. So, like, this morning, I said something I had noticed, and I was like, it made me annoyed because I was like, why are there three pairs of shoes out? And that's what I wanted to say. But in my head, I was like, obviously, it's really not that big of a deal. And so I just like went into the bathroom and he was showering, and I was just like, hey, can I ask you a favor? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, do you think that you could pick up your shoes, put them in the closet? Because with all of the puppy toys, it stresses me out having everything out. And he was like, yeah. And so it was just like, and I'm not saying that I'm always like that because that makes me sound like I'm a saint. Because obviously I get annoyed and will like have an annoyed tone sometimes. But I'm really trying to just like realize like little things are little things. It really doesn't matter. And he literally does not do anything wrong. Like, he's so organized, he's so clean. And so I'm like, obviously, like, I'm here all day. He works out of the house, I work in the house. And so I'm here. So, like, little things like that are going to bother me more. Whereas he gets home from work, he wants to take off his shoes and just, like, lay down or just relax and chill. And so I get it. Like, he's not really thinking about, like, oh, let me put my shoes in the closet. And it's the smallest thing. And so instead of me just like getting annoyed and just putting them away every single time, like, it is important for me to say something, but I don't have to be annoyed about it because it's not like he's doing it on purpose or like intentionally to annoy me. Like, it's a small thing. And I told him, and like, now he'll pick them up. So, that is one thing. He also does kind of the same thing with his laundry. Like, the clothes that he wears that day, he will just take them off right by the foot of his bed, by his side of the bed, and then they'll just be in a pile. And I'm like, for me, I'm like, okay, you have shoes by the foot of your bed and you have a pile of laundry. Like, how does that not bother you? But, that's me and that's not him. So I said the same thing about the shoes. Like, I was like, can you also just like put your laundry in the laundry basket? And, simple thing, but it's important to just communicate if you're annoyed about something because you don't want it to build up. And also, the way you communicate about it is really important, and that's something that I'm trying to work on. So that's something I've learned. Um, Something else that we are different in is making the bed in the morning. I have to make the bed every morning. And so every morning when I get out of bed, I pull the covers back and then I'll like come out, start making breakfast, whatever, like start doing my morning routine. And then he'll get in the shower, I'll come back in the room and I'll see like his side of the bed, blankets like fully pulled out, like not folded back at all. And I'm like, I always am just like, and couldn't he have just pulled them back a little bit? But in my mind, I'm like, it's really important for me to make the bed every morning. It might not be important to him. It doesn't really matter. So then I just like go back, I make the bed. And that making the bed is part of my routine and that makes me feel good. And so, yeah, I'm like, whatever. It's really not that big of a deal. Sometimes I'm like, could you not just like pull those covers back like this morning? But at the same time, it's really not that big of a deal. And that's a priority to me. It's not a priority to him. So it's fine. It's like, it's really like not something to fight about at all because it's something simple. Um, Now, if I had bigger problems in my relationship, like if he was incredibly messy or if he like didn't provide or like do anything, then I would obviously have a problem with these things and be like, can you just like do this? It's so simple. But he works really hard and he works a lot. And so like I was saying, like I just he just comes home and like wants to spend time with me and not think about like he doesn't necessarily think about like, oh, I'm gonna make the bed and I'm gonna do this and this and this, like some things that are important to me. Like he wants to come home and just like hang out and spend time with me and make dinner because he has to make dinner because I won't cook. And so, like there's just different priorities. So that's what I do want to say. Like, if you are in a relationship and it's like you're doing everything and he's not doing anything, then I could see how you would be more annoyed about the little things. But for me, because he does provide and work so hard, the little things don't bother me because it's very much things that are in my routine that weren't in his routine before. So it's like, it doesn't really matter if he adapts to that because it's my routine. Um, so that's that. Um, Next, it is kind of hard to find your own space when you're sharing a home. Um, and so something that I did to make it feel like our place is I did a collage on our living room wall of just different prints. So like I just found different prints from artists on Etsy. And was really intentional in finding styles that matched both of us. So in my ideal world, everything would be pink. But he doesn't want to live in the Barbie dream house, and that's okay. And so I found just different prints like blues and there are some pinks and just like pastel colors, like just trying to mix our um styles together, and it is hard. Um, I felt for the first few months, I felt like my style wasn't really coming through because it was all of his furniture. And so it was all very much like dark and gray and black furniture, which I wouldn't choose. And that was really hard for me at first. Like, I'm not gonna lie, that was really hard. But I have since found ways to make it girly, and it's really just in the accents. And I did have to be open and honest with him about this, like, because I really wanted it to be my way, and then he really wanted it to be his way. And then at one point, I remember I just, like, kind of, like, was sad, and I just told him, like, I don't feel like my style is coming through here, and it doesn't feel homey to me. It feels like I'm living in your style because it's all your furniture and we don't really have anything that shows my personality. Like there's no color, like nothing. And like it was only just the wall collage. And so after that, after I just communicated that, then he was like, "Okay, I understand that." And I've since just added like just different like random little like accents. And like I have a throw pillow on the couch that has different color little bows on it. And that's just really cute. It's simple, it's not in your face, but it just brings out like a little coquette girly vibe. And so yeah, I would just say like communicate about what your styles are and try to combine them. It is hard. But even if you can't agree, maybe just try to like pick different rooms and then you could each design a different room. I don't know. Um, but yeah, it did take a few months for us to kind of like find our apartment style. And I think that can always change. So, if you're feeling stuck and you feel like you can't really blend your guys' styles, I would just say sit down and talk about it. And I would start with trying to find prints that you could make a little wall collage and just combine like different elements. Like I was trying to find like vintage racing prints, and because he likes racing, so I was trying to find like vintage ones that would fit with the ones I liked. So yeah, that's what I would suggest for that. We're going to take a quick break to talk about our sponsor, BetterHelp.
There's a lot going on in the world right now, and we can all benefit from having someone to talk to.
Whether you need to work through a specific trauma, talk through a big decision, navigate relationship issues, are struggling with anxiety or depression, or just need someone to talk to, BetterHelp is here for you.
It's a super easy process. You sign up and get matched with a therapist tailored to your needs. There's financial help available if you qualify, and their rates are affordable to ensure that you get the help you need.
BetterHelp has given our listeners 10% off your first month. Use code RTAFPOD for 10% off therapy services. And you can also click the link in our show notes to get there very easily. Again, that's code RTAFPOD for 10% off therapy services.
Some of the harder conversations, I would say, would be like the financial conversations or the financial adjustment. And this was all me putting this on myself because um, I have some blocks with money. Like, money is just a really hard topic for me. And so initially, when I moved in, I felt like, okay, I need to be paying more because he makes more money than me. And so I was like, I need to be paying more because I don't want him to feel like I'm not contributing enough. And on top of like being chronically ill, I just was feeling like I was being a burden because he was buying all the groceries and he was, doing all this stuff. Um, and so I just kept putting on myself like I am a burden to him. I need to be paying more. I'm a burden. And then in therapy, I worked through it. Like he was like, "Has he asked you to do more?" And I was like, "No." And he was like, "Okay, so then you're putting that on yourself." And so we've had conversations like about this since, and he I know that he like we talked about before we moved in together, like, okay, how much rent am I gonna pay? How much rent is he gonna pay? And I do pay less rent than he does, which is fair because I make significantly less than he does. Um, and then I pay for our utilities. Wait, no, not all utilities. I pay for our energy bill, and then he pays for the other utilities. So whatever that is, water and something else. Um, and so, like it's not like I'm just like getting a free ride. I am paying rent. I am paying for our energy, and we made that agreement when we moved in. And since then, we've had different discussions. Like as my medical bills have piled up, and as I've kind of had a hard time with budgeting, like he's talked to me and been like, "Is are these expectations too much now? Like, do we need to adjust? Do you need to be paying less rent?" And I'm like, no, I don't need to pay less rent. I just need to figure it out. But he has been really good about not making me feel like I'm not doing enough just because he does pay more financially. Um, and he does recognize me for the work that I do in the home. Like, I do all the cleaning and like not just the dishes. I clean the whole apartment. I do our laundry. Um, when he is working a lot more, I take on all of the responsibility at the house. And with our puppy, the puppy is a big responsibility. And so he does recognize all of that and makes it known to me that he does appreciate it. And so, um, yeah, the financial conversation, it is kind of hard. It's a hard one to have. Um, but I would say, like, just be open and honest. I have the most amazing partner. Not to brag, I feel like I've just been bragging this whole time, but he has made things just so easy for me because he has not been problematic in any way. He's just so easygoing and laid back and just wants me to be okay. And so, yeah, I would just say like you just need to communicate about things. And if things aren't feeling right, then you can always change the structure of the your guys' like financial contributions down the road, or you can change the structure of anything down the road. Like things can change and adjust as needed, and that's okay. And so that kind of just goes into my last big point is just to communicate. And we hear this all the time, but truly if you don't communicate with your partner, then it is not going to work. And obviously, like, we'll get like annoyed with each other, but like, really, we don't fight. We don't argue. Like, everything is good because we communicate. We have our routine, we have our structure, and we love each other. And so things are happy and really great. I would say if you are living together and you are having problems that like you feel like you're fighting a lot, or you feel like you're getting really annoyed with what your partner's doing, like their habits and stuff, I would just bring it up to them and try to communicate with them. And if you're fighting a lot, I don't really have advice for that because I don't have that issue. I would say, like, if it gets to a certain point, like, I would try to go to couples therapy. But even if, like, you don't want to go to couples therapy, just try to carve out intentional time to communicate and spend time together. Like, even if it's just like, okay, 15 minutes before bed, or if you go to bed at different times, at 9 p.m. every night for 15 minutes, we're just going to talk. No phones, no distractions. Like, we're just going to sit on the couch and talk for a minute and have a little daily check in. That might help just to get you guys to start communicating in a non-confrontational way and just connect, because connection and communication is just the most important thing. And if you're not communicating, then you're not going to be able to connect. So those are the things that I have learned from living with my partner, living with a boy. Um, Things are great. I love it, and we're very happy. But I have two different things that people have suggested from our audience. So first, someone said, try to even out household chores so one person isn't doing all the work. Example, one person cooks dinner while the other person cleans the dishes. It's okay to give each other space too. So obviously I agree with that, the first part of that, because that's what our dynamic is. One person should not be doing all of the work in the household at all. Like, it's 2025. Most people need a dual income to survive. So most of the time, both of you are working. Um, and so that's not fair to put all of the household work on one person, unless that's your agreement. But again, you have to agree on that. So yeah, even things out. And also, yeah, it is okay to give each other space. Like, you don't have to be together all the time. Just because you live together, like, you don't have to do things together all the time. Um, we like to like coexist. Like, if he's on his computer, then I will just be like in the same room watching something or coloring, and then we'll just chat like intermittently throughout the night, but we're doing our own thing, and that's great. Like, we love that. So yeah, it's okay to give each other space. And then lastly, someone from our audience said, you see so much of each other and finally see and realize things that never annoyed you before. It's so easy to let all those tiny, annoying little things build up, but you just honestly have to let go and accept it as part of them. I love that. And that's what I was trying to say, I guess, because like him leaving his shoes out, or like his clothes for that day right by the bed, like, I wouldn't do that, but that's him. And like, it doesn't, okay, it annoys me, but it doesn't actually affect me. And like, if it doesn't change, obviously I'm going to bring it up again, but like, that's just something that he does. That's just like part of his routine. That's not part of my routine, but it's part of his routine. So it's just like, whatever. It's not worth fighting about. Like, that's just a weird little thing that he does. And I have weird little things that I do. I would actually be so curious to ask him, like, what do I do that annoys you? Because I've never asked him that. So maybe I'll ask him that tonight, and maybe we'll get into a fight. Our first fight. No, just kidding. We've gotten into arguments before, obviously, but yeah. Anyways, so that is just some advice from our listeners, some advice from me. I enjoyed doing this first solo episode. It is weird not having Ken's here, but like I said, she is being a nursing baddie, and she is getting her second degree. Like, I'm just so impressed with her and I'm so inspired because I wanted to be a nurse. And then my life path went a different way and I'm happy, but she just inspires me. And so I'm very proud of her. And if you all wanted to send her like a little word of encouragement, I know she would really appreciate that. So if you feel inclined, you can comment on this video, you can DM her, you can comment on our You, Me, and the Girls post. I always post clips from the episode. I always post an announcement on Sunday when the episode goes out. So you can leave her a little word of encouragement on there. You can find us on Instagram at You, Me, and the Girls Pod. You can find us everywhere at You, Me, and the Girls Pod. But Instagram is where we are most active. So go follow us there. Check us out. And like I said, not sure what the frequency of our episodes is going to be. We're going to try to stick to 2 a month. But like I said, it's a very busy time. So with that being said, I will leave you guys with that. And I hope you guys have a great few weeks. And we'll talk to you next time. Bye.